For more on this, we're joined by Annette Kim, Associate Professor at the University of Southern California. Annette, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Look, this is pretty fun because you've been there, I'm sure. We've all been to Asia and we've gone out to the night markets and we've gone shopping. It's really more of an experience rather than a business, but people forget that it's also a business as well. Is regulating the night market the right way to go?
Well, I think they need to be managed. There's a struggle for space in the city, and so there's many people, as you saw in that newscast, that are finding public spaces to use, and sometimes it works well, but sometimes it doesn't work so well, so it needs to be managed.
I mean, nobody wants to have sort of that night market experience put into a traditional shopping mall, because that would take away the entire environment of it. And a lot of these folks, they're there because it's cheap to set up, it doesn't cost much money, it doesn't take much space, and it can really be a 1 or 2 person type of business. I mean, that's one of the benefits of these sort of outdoor markets, right?
That's right. I mean, people who cannot afford to invest in real estate, brick and mortar restaurant buildings, can set up much more low-cost businesses in the city. And as you hit on it, it also contributes to a lively, festive urban atmosphere. So it has a lot of wonderful qualities that should be leveraged.
So on our team's research on this, we found out that more females are actually employed at these type of markets, informally, I should say. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, I based that research on WIEGO, a Harvard nonprofit that does excellent research on this, and they also found across the board, around the world, that often women are the most employed in the informal sector. And it depends on what you're selling and which city and continent you're on, but it's a kind of open access employment sector.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question why females in particular are being singled out in that particular study, why more of them are employed than men.
No, there's men and women, and there could be sizable portions. Sometimes the difference is 60-40, 55-45. So men are also an important part of the informal sector. In some places, women might be back home cooking the food, and then the men sell it on the street because of cultural reasons. That was true more in the Middle East. In other places, food was specialized by women in Southeast Asia, whereas services like motorcycle taxi services were all men. So it really depends.
All right, so one of the #1 complaints that I have from people that I've spoken to that have visited these markets and they go eat is the cleanliness of these places. I mean, that is an issue. Does the government need to do something to make sure that wherever you're eating, that it's clean?
Sure. Public health and food safety is very important, but often that's an issue that's, I think, overly used, targeting street vendors when they're in the general restaurant business might also be an issue. So the research I did in Vietnam, for example, the rates of food poisoning were not that different between the two. Often because the way that it's made for the restaurants in the back is very similar to what's done in small stalls. So, I do think regulating standards of food handling is very important.
Well,
but it's not
first of all, it's always good to avoid food poisoning. I only have another minute with you, so I want to ask you about the economics of it all. Some people say that these folks who are doing these businesses don't have to report or pay taxes because a lot of it's really done by cash. Is that true?
It's true, and so local businesses feel like it's unfair because they're not paying rent or taxes. But it's also a huge, important employment sector, and this is really a migration issue. That's why street vending happens, is people are coping to make a living as they move into the city. For the first time in history, more people are living in cities than not. So there needs to be a way to employ all these people.